2016 update for Himeko Sutori. The first thing you'll probably notice is a bunch of barrels scattered around the test level. Those aren't important. Those are just indicators of where I have some triggers that I can touch to start some test events. The first event that we're going to take a look at is combat, and we have some graphical improvements in the combat interface to show off. I just clicked on this new shield icon. That's the icon that tells your units to defend and hold position. You'll also notice that I changed the path decals, the white indicator, the line that shows where your units are going to go. It used to be a blurry line that was impossible to see when your units were traveling across snow. I think that this sharp line looks a lot better. The characters who you see here were randomly generated. I used to have to make every combination by hand, and that was very time-consuming, and it resulted in limited combinations. But what I've done is I've come up with a list of possible skin combinations, with possible hair combinations, with big lists of names, literally hundreds of possible names that your characters can have. This is our first time seeing the wolves in action. Their stats are very similar to first-level rogues, but they're not wearing any armor. That means that they will take a little bit more damage than your average rogues. We also have a naked little goblin there. I have armor and weapons for him, I just didn't equip any for this video. The characters who we sent into battle here were 2 paladins and a knight. We've lost one of the paladins. I thought that this was going to be a fair fight. We sent in 3 pretty well-armored characters who have shields that increase their block stats, and they have very good physical defenses, but it looks like they are starting to lose. One of the factors contributing to our loss here is, of course, that rogue characters, the wolves included, who have rogue behavior, always target the weakest unit, and that means that they are able to pick off enemies a lot faster when they are concentrating their damage, whereas the knights and paladins tend to attack whoever is directly in front of them, which means that the 3 of them were spreading out their damage evenly among the 3 wolves. And we just lost the battle, which takes us to the Game Over screen, which is probably familiar to those of you who played the alpha demo that we gave away as a Kickstarter reward. Some of those battles were a little tougher than I intended them to be. Well, let's give this fight another try, but we are going to do something different first. This barrel is hooked up to a simple little test event that adds a new character to our party every time we touch this barrel. What's going on here is the game is creating some randomly generated characters. It takes some combination of skin tone and name and hair, and it's taking those combinations and creating new characters from them. It's also taking a random set of possible character class with equipment combinations, and it's using all of those to create all of the characters that we are adding to our party now. Here you can see the characters' portraits. The hair and skin and clothing that they are wearing in these portraits matches the hair and skin and clothing that they have on their sprites in the game world. Here are the randomly generated characters that the game made for us. Their sprites here should match the portraits that they have in the game, except for the facial hair. Everything else should match. We don't yet have the facial hair done, but we will be adding that very soon. Oh, and it looks like we also need the portraits drawn for those with male pattern baldness. Also, we need to finish drawing all of the sprites for the different weapons that they can have. There are going to be hundreds of weapons in the game, and I would like for each of them to have a unique sprite sheet. That's going to take a little while, but we are well on our way. We are going to make some squads using all of these new characters that we have. I'm selecting Yumi as the squad leader for this first squad that we're making. I'm not sure why we're not able to add any more characters to her squad. For some reason, the game is detecting her leadership score is very low. I think I know what the problem might be. I'll go in and check, but basically all of your characters have a leadership score, and every other character has a certain leadership cost in order to add them to that squad. The cost in leadership points to add any character to the squad is going to change depending on which character class the squad leader is and which character class the character is who you want to add to that squad. It might sound kind of complicated the way I'm explaining it right now, but I'm planning in the future to have more information showing up on the screen here that should make it easier for you to form squads of characters who are going to go well together, and the character classes that work well with each other. So now that we have some more squads made, we are going to return to the test level here, and we're going to start the combat that we lost last time. As you can see, we are going into this battle with a much larger army, and it's also a much more varied army. We've got several different character classes who we are going to bring in here, including a cleric and a gunner, it looks like. Also, a warlock, an alchemist, and a barbarian. Unfortunately, I haven't finished all of their weapon sprite sheets. They do have weapons, but their weapons just aren't showing up on the screen here. We have lots more sprite sheets to draw for all of their weapons. I am going to move up this squad of knights and a cleric front and center to face these wolves head-on. Knights and clerics tend to work well together. I'm going to take all of these other squads and I'm going to have them form aligned to defend Yumi. Because Yumi is the character who we are controlling in the other game mode where you're exploring and walking around, it'll cause some problems if we lose her in this battle. Normally in other battles I would have a specific condition set up to detect whether one of your main characters has died in the battle, and if so, then there'll be a dialogue and then it'll go to game over. But because I don't have that set up right now, then I'm just going to protect her and just make sure that we win this battle. I would like to point out something that happened in that first combat round when I moved up the knights and the cleric to face the wolves head-on. I didn't get to point this out at the time, but the cleric died immediately, and that is because the wolves have a higher speed than everyone else, and they have rogue behavior, which means they automatically attack the weakest character in the opposing squad. And so while you might think that you're going to send in a cleric with every squad to keep them all healed up, that might not be the best idea, because in some cases you're going to face wolves who are going to act first and they're going to pick off your casters right away. And there, we won the battle. And that's about it for the October update for Himeko Sutori. There's still lots more that we need to do, and lots more that I'm going to work on over the next month, and lots more that I'm going to show you in November. Thank you very much for watching.